Hello everyone, this is Andy from Skirmish Hobby Projects again. Today continuing the Pillage Saxon Warband project. Last time you saw me building up the sort of command team, which consists of my chieftain, my priest, and two of my huskars, which are conveniently just there actually. But obviously continue the program. There's no point having a command team if there's nobody to be in command. So as was the feature of Saxon warfare in the late Dark Ages, I'm going to be focusing on the infantry today, but specifically I'm going to be building some unarmoured infantry. Thinking behind this prioritising them is because the little bit of a history lesson here, the way the Saxons did war is rather than having bands of professional troops fighting left, right and centre, I mean, they had some small parts like the Huskars and stuff like that. But largely, the wars were fought through a system known as the Fyrd, Fyrd. Long story short, every able-bodied man who sort of lived and worked in an area would have to go and would have to like pick up a shield and a spear and provide his own kit and go and fight for his lord for a period of time, and then would be stood down during the harvest season so they could go and obviously get all the food in, because what was the point if you can't feed yourselves? So that's a really basic history overview. Have a look into it if you want, or if you know any more, please let me know because I find this stuff interesting. Either way, as you can see, I've got the warband comes with 2 infantry sprues worth, as you can see on the left hand side. Each one has 8 bodies. 4 would be unarmored, 4 armored. I have taken the liberty of just cutting the unarmored bodies off of my second sprue already, and I'll do the options there in a second. But the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that there is also a 5th body here not doing a whole lot. Well, that is because one of the options I have yet to build from the command sprue last time was this guy. An unarmoured body with the option to be a warhorn blower. There is then also the option for someone to be a standard bearer, which will be this guy in due course, but we'll look at him when I come to do the armoured troops. That's it really for now. I'm going to go into the building process and take a load of photos and upload them and see how we get on. Okay, so step 1 complete. As you can see, I've got all 8 bodies cut out with heads, arms and various accessories decided. Where it's a Saxon Fyrd, I've tried to go with the historical principle that shields relatively cheap, helmets relatively cheap because you can always just take them off someone, whatever, and spears historically were the most common weapon of like the average man, because again it's basically just a big stick with a little bit of metal on top, so not too expensive to make or produce, and then you can just stick it to one side. It takes up very little space, sort of propped up against the wall, little maintenance and that sort of stuff as well. As is now becoming the theme of this guy over here, so my banner, the bugler, or whatever is warhorn guy, hornblower man. No, wait, that's navy, that's different. Anyways, as you can see, rambling on, I wanted him to have a spear in his offhand. So the horn is a right hand attachment. For the left hand, there wasn't really any good options. So I'm thinking I'm going to have a shield on his back, and then I've taken this piece here and I've cut the end of the spear off, because there's this one which is meant to be left hand part of a Dane axe. All I'm going to do is, much like I did with the priest in the last video, I'm going to attach the spiked the spearhead onto that arm, so it looks like he's got his spear in his off arm, so he can blow the horn with his helmet on his with his shield on his back. Right, that's it for the actual video bit now. You know the drill. I'll just take photos as I go along, but these ones all look relatively simple compared to the previous ones, so don't be surprised if it's very few photos of just a couple of bits going together. Right, see you on the other side. All right then, everyone. So that is the build process complete, and I don't know about you, I am really quite happy with that. So just as a post-build review, honestly, the previous ones, the command sprue, there was a lot more sort of like moving parts. But then actually you can sort of, if I bring them here, obviously you can see they're more bespoke poses in a way. Like there's more going on with cloaks and axes and all sorts of stuff. So of course they were going to take a little bit more effort to put together. But these guys were, your rank and file units were a lot easier to put together, which is good. And so I've just sort of divvied them out. Obviously, the main, those 6 at the back are the sort of main, your standard. Yeah, come along, Dave. Come along, Fred. We need you to form a shield wall now. Thanks. You'll notice that a couple of guys at the very front are a little bit more bespoke. So if I pull them forward, you can see they've got like fancier mail. So for the context of the game, that would count as full armored. So with the heads, you only have a couple of choices, but I'm going to be trying to make it look like these guys are slightly older. So they've done this a few times. They've earned a bit of money. That's why they can afford to have some nicer kits. This isn't their first rodeo. Whereas these are all like your young'uns or the ones with like maybe in their 30s who haven't done many fights before. You will also see, hand in the camera as well, also see what I've done with this guy. So I'll have to go back and redo it slightly. Long story short, the arm that had the spear in his left didn't really work. It ended up with like 2 hands together on the horn and the spear in one, and it just didn't quite look right to me. So I went with give him a shield in his left hand instead. He can be holding his spear, so that for the purpose of the rules, I could say, he's got a weapon, it's all fine, he's partially armoured, but it does look like he's part of the Fyrd, and he's just, rallying people to his side. What I like about this though, and the poses are all really good. So if I were to do something like this, oh god, don't do things live. This is why. In the game, you get, if you can get 5 models together in a straight line like this, you can make use of rules that say form shield wall, which I think is just a defensive buff when fighting. So, but what I like is, because of the poses and what I've done, it actually looks quite dynamic. It looks like these guys have just formed up closely. Their shields are all aligned. Not zoomed. Their shields are all aligned, but they're not quite fighting properly. But I think it looks quite good. Right, so thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully that's been interesting. I've only got sort of like 2 or 3 more stages left to go on this. So I've got obviously my armoured infantry that need to be done, my sort of skirmishes and archers and things. And then probably have a think about whether I want to do some Saxon horsemen or not. But I'm at a sort of stage now where I've got enough models where I think I might have to justify getting the paint out. So we'll see where we go. And before I close off for one last time, I figured I'd just form them all up into a big block. You probably wouldn't do this in a game, but just to give you an indication of what a little battle line might look like if there was like a take and hold mission of some kind. I've got a decent sort of block of troops now, and when you sort of look like that, like I said, I'm getting Saxon shield wall vibes, so I'm really happy. Right, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully that was a bit useful, or at least you're entertained in what's going on forward. And yeah, good luck with your projects. See you next time.